Hey guys, this is Tim with Tim Stout and Associates Compass Real Estate, your trusted real estate expert for Coweta and Fayette County. Guys, I'm gonna go over a question I get asked a lot is it possible to buy real estate with zero or very little money down? And the question is yes. So I've come across a few ideas and a few samples of how you can do this. And if you wait to the end, I'll give you my advice of what I would do if I was a young investor with no money and I wanted to get into the real estate investing game. No matter if you're buying all cash or you're looking for creative financing, because that's how the deals are made right now. Cash is not the most important part of the equation. The most important part of the equation is the deal. The deals are super hard to find. And if you're looking for some creative financing options, we need to be looking at distressed properties or sellers who are having some financial issues and need a quick fix. Step number one is we have to find the deal. We have to find the property. My advice for that is to drive around, look for properties that are overgrown, broken windows, they're in need of repair. There's something that's going on that makes it look like someone's not living there, or if they are living there, they're not taking great care of it. After you find the property, then you need to find out who the owner is and find out if they're interested in selling, and then you can start looking at how the deal is going to happen. To negotiate the deal, once you find out they're wanting to sell, you need to know what they're willing to sell it for, what the ARV is, the after repair value. After repair value is what you buy it for, what you put into it, and that's going to be what you have into it. The after repair value is a list of like comparables. Like a good real estate agent like myself can go through and give you a comparable market analysis of what that would look like with the repairs and the renovations that you want to do. That lets you know where the ARV is. So let's pretend like that number is 200. And you can buy the property for $100 and a $50,000 renovation. That means you have a $50,000 spread, which you're making straight through equity. So let's say we're talking about a deal and we want to get creative financing, or somehow create the deal with zero money down. A good example is, let's pretend like I want to buy a property for its ARV is $100,000. So I can take $100,000 and I convince the owner to carry the mortgage, which means I will be paying them because they don't live in the property. They're not making rental income from this property if it's distressed. So basically, I'm going to talk to them and I will give them $60,000 and I will pay them monthly on a schedule to get them paid off. And you'll go to the attorney's office. It'll be a regular closing, just like if you're closing with a bank. And so it's $60,000. It needs $20,000 worth of repairs. So that'll be 60 plus 20. And then I've got 80 in it total, which will make a $100,000 property. The ARV is $100,000. So I've already got the $60,000 covered because I have the seller agreed to pay that, agreed to allow me to pay payments to the seller. And now I'm going to find an investor. I'm going to find an investor, a family friend, someone who has $20,000 who wants to come in on the deal with me. And so they're going to give me the $20,000 for the rehab. At the end of it, I have $80,000 worth of property. I have a $100,000 property. Then I'm going to go and refinance the property. Refinance the property, you can refinance 80%. So 80% of 100 is 80,000. So once I get that $80,000, I pay $60,000 to the seller and I pay $20,000 to the investor. So now I own the property 100% and I have zero money in it. Another option you can do is if I approach a seller and they're living in the property and they're having financial issues. They need something, but they need to get out of the property. They want to move. There's something going on there. So you first of all, you discover their problem and then you come up with a solution. That's how you get these deals, is you discover the problem, you listen, and then you come up with a solution. So let's say the same $100,000 property, this person, you've basically, they owe $60,000 on it. So you talk them into allowing you to pay the payments to the bank for them. So you're going to give them consideration. It could be something around, say, $5,000. So that'd be very little money, $5,000. Or you could borrow the $5,000 to give them the $5,000, and now you're going to pay the payments for them. So now you bring on another investor for the same price, the $20,000. You do the renovations. You can leave them a part of the deal. They'd be 20% partner of the deal. And now your payment on $60,000 is going to be probably $600, And if you have a $100,000 property, after it's fixed up, that's about $1,000 a month rent. So you're going to be able to make about $400 a month on that property, and that's still paying your investor their 20%. So you're still going to be cash flowing, and you will have zero money in the property, none. You'll still be cash flowing, and you'll still be the primary owner on a property that's appreciating every year. Somebody else is paying down your debt, the tenant, the property appreciates, and you're making cash flow every month with zero down. The key to all of this is finding the deal. That is the absolute key to it. If I was to start over as a young investor, my number one goal would be I would be contacting these sellers. I would be what they call driving for dollars. I would be driving around, identifying these properties. I'd be going back to tax records, doing some research, finding out what the owners of these properties and how to get a hold of them. I would send them letters, I would call, I would drive by and I would knock. I would find people who wanted to sell, and I would arrange the deal. I would practice negotiating. I would get the deal. And the same analogy that we gave, it's a $100,000 property. Once it's fixed up, they need $60,000. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to say, okay, I will give you $60,000 for your property. So they agree to sell the property for $60,000. I put the closing out, and I put $500 down as earnest money. So in case something happens to the contract, they do at least make $500. So I negotiate $60,000 because they need some work and they want something easy. So then now I go approach investors, and I'm like, I have a $60,000 property that if you give me $10,000, I will sell you this contract, or $5,000, or whatever the money is. Well, the $10,000 for easy math. So if you give me $10,000, I will sell you this contract for $60,000, and you still have $30,000 of equity in this property. So the seller, you assign the contract to the new buyer. The new buyer goes to the closing, pays $70,000, $10,000 goes to you, and $60,000 goes to the original seller. You make $10,000 for doing absolutely nothing but finding the deal. This is called wholesaling. Wholesaling is a big deal with a lot of investors, but wholesalers do get a bad name because a lot of them are finding properties and they're calling it a deal, and it's not a deal. I deal with a few wholesalers myself, and 90% of the properties they bring me is not a deal. It's not even close to being a deal. It's market value. An investor will not pay market value because there's no spread. The reason you buy properties at a decreased price at $60,000, $20,000 improvement, a spread of 80 to 100. That is my profit. I created that out of thin air from doing the work. So what I would do would be wholesaling. I would be driving for dollars. I would buy lists of foreclosed homes. People are late on their payments. People who have liens. And I would call them, and I would develop relationships with investors, and I would get these deals and I would sell them to investors. And once I made enough money from this, I would start investing myself, and then I would build up my portfolio that way. Hey guys, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and remember, who you work with matters, and have a great day.